Nats have got a bit of a spring in their step at the moment following the weekend.
Yeah, it was certainly a terrific result and certainly has put a spring in everyone's step down in Canberra, but all around New South Wales, I think. And, it just goes to show you that if you're the local candidate and you work hard, you can get the results. So I think everyone was very pleased to see such a strong result in very difficult circumstances.
When you look at those numbers, though, Andrew, I mean, you've got the two major parties that only got 50% of the primary vote. So that leaves a whole lot that's kind of bleeding out to the fringe parties. How concerned about that would you be?
Oh, look, I think that is actually a very good point. Although excellent though that victory was and is, and we shouldn't downplay it, we can't rest on our laurels, and no major political party can. And I think in recent years we have seen people's trust and faith in our institutions, like political parties and churches, slowly decreasing and eroding. And so, as the National Party, we can't rest on our laurels, and we need to be looking at those figures and saying, right, who do we need to get back on board? And we just need to make sure that we're representing all country people. And, for example, if we've lost some farmers there, we need to get them back, and we need to have a strategy to do that. So, encouraging as though those figures were, we can't rest on our laurels, and we need to be redoubling our efforts to make sure that we're carrying everyone in the bush with us.
Yeah,
but considering where we were, a stunning result.
So how does it change anything for you leading up to the next federal election? Does it change your approach at all, or do you adjust it in any way?
No, I think it's an affirmation that the National Party is still very much a vibrant political fighting force. I think for the Labor Party, there's some real soul searching to do. I think for them, the message is, pack up the beads and Roman sandals and get back to the basics of representing who you're supposed to. And I think this has been brewing for years. And, there's speculation about Jody. I think Jody's actually a very decent person, and we need more decent people in politics. The problem is not so much Jody. This has been brewing for a long time, and a lot of them have been drinking the Kool-Aid on this. Joel, he's seen the light now, but he's been drinking the Kool-Aid on this for years and basically talking down people's jobs in Hunter, and people don't like it. They want jobs and growth and prosperity in their region. And so I think he's seen the light. I think the member for Patterson has seen the light, but I think others in Labor, while they continue to call to the inner city suburbs, your Glebes and your Newtowns, and they keep burning the incense, they're always going to have problems, and I don't see it resolving anytime soon. Having said that, on our side of politics, we need to be on guard as well. But yeah, a stunning result.
Okay, just on to another story that we're running with this morning in South Australia. So people aged over 16 and over can go out and get the jab, but in regional areas now. When would you like to see that expanded to other states?
As soon as possible. I think the more people we get vaccinated, the better. So I think that's a really good initiative, and I'd like to see that expanded. I've had my jab. I got it a couple of weeks ago. I got AstraZeneca. No adverse side effects, no issues. It's just a question of weighing up the benefit against the possible risk, which was very small. And to me, it was a no-brainer. So I'd like to see the vaccine rollout continue at an increased pace. So I think that's a good initiative. I'd like to see it happen in other states as well.
What about vaccine passports for interstate travel? What sort of problems, if any, do you see with this, particularly at borders on roads, I would have thought?
Well, look, one of the problems that we've seen in recent times has been states essentially locking down their borders and their states, I think for political reasons, and Queensland was a great example of that. And so I think what the Prime Minister is proposing seems pretty sensible to me, and there have been some objections to it. But look, if a state's locked down, you're not going to get in or out anyway, and this is a way of getting more people in and out, and it returns us to some degree of normality, I think. And look, may encourage more people to go and get a vaccine and get a shot as well. So I don't have a problem with it. I mean, at the moment, in order to travel to different states, people have needed border passes, and there have been exemptions as well for different groups, truckies, etc. So I don't have too much of a problem with this, because basically, if it's a choice between some travel and no travel, if you're vaccinated, then I don't see an issue with it. And I don't. There's been a lot of, I think, hysteria about the vaccines themselves. But when I went and got mine, it's just a simple question of sitting down with the doctor. She explained the possible risk, which were very small, and it's a no-brainer. And when you have any sort of treatment, medical treatment, there's some degree of risk with it all. I mean, a few years ago, I had stage 3 cancer and I've been zapped. I've had CT scans, I've had PET scans, I've been on vaccine trials, and there's a risk with it all. But you've got to weigh up the potential benefit against the small risk of harm and the good that it can do in terms of early detection. And so, look, I think you've just got to adopt a sensible, common sense approach about these things, including the movement of people between states.
Okay, well, it's good to see you well, Andrew, I've got to say. Now, just onto these new hubs to deliver jobs today. How are you going to do that?
Well, community innovation hubs, Pete, that's what we're talking about today. And COVID-19 has been absolutely devastating in many different ways, but one of the silver linings has been the movement of people and the rediscovery of the regions by people in the cities. I mean, we've seen more people move from the cities to the country since the days of the gold rush. And last year, the ABS has just released the figures. 233,000 people made the move for a net gain of about 43,000 Australians moving to the regions, and the year before it was just under 19,000 net. So people are discovering the regions for the first time. It's been a great economic plus for the regions, but these community innovation hubs are designed to work in with that trend. So if folks want to move to the bush and set up a business, they don't have to find large-scale business premises with those big outlays on rent. They can move into one of these hubs if they want to. Or if you've got firms who have employees that want to work in the regions but not necessarily from their house, they can get a room in one of these community innovation hubs. So it also works into that whole flexible workplace arrangement, which has been a feature of COVID. So we want more firms and more businesses moving to country Australia, and this is a way to facilitate that, to make it easier for them to do it without the big startup costs. And once they get here, they've got the foothold, the beachhead, they can expand from there and bring the jobs and the growth and the prosperity that country Australia wants and needs.